Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to do intro to processing, really basic stuff. What we're hoping to do right now is going to be making a drawing application, right? So basically when the mouse is pressed, we want to draw, and we will use colors in a way where we can basically, it will depend on where the mouse is, or we can specify a specific color as well, right? All right, so let's go on the board. Okay, so there is a function in processing, right, called mouse pressed. This function gets called every time you click the mouse. But there is also, I believe, a variable called the same thing, right? So mouse press, which is true, when the mouse is being pressed, right? So I don't think we'll be using this one. Um, since we might, yeah, we'll be only using this one. But I'm also thinking we could clear the canvas. So clear basically the screen or reset the screen, whatever you want to call it, whenever we press the spacebar, for example, right? So to know that, we need a function from processing as well. This one is called key pressed, right? So this function will be using it. So we won't be using this one. We'll be using mouse pressed to know whenever we're clicking mouse, and then we'll be, let's say, we'll have like an if statement. So whenever, if that is true, then we draw, I don't know, circles at that specific position where the mouse is. So we will also use, in conjunction to this, we will also be using mouse X and mouse Y. These are also two other variables that we will need to use to get the position of the mouse currently, right? So if that is true, then draw a point or a circle at that specific position. And when the key pressed is called, and that the key code is the spacebar, then we will be resetting the canvas, right? So let's get into it. And this is really an initiation for the ones that don't know exactly how to use processing in itself. So you must start up. So I would suggest downloading processing for your environment platform, your OS, and then once you get that up and running, it should pretty much be straightforward for opening it, at least. So we must have void set up. This is called one time whenever the sketch first load. One important thing to use is size. This is a must, either size or full screen, but let's not talk about it. But okay, so size is required. It is basically specifying the size in width and height for the window that is going to be created, right? So in our case, we want, let's say, a 800 by 800 window, right? That gets created whenever we start running this sketch. So that's pretty much it. So if I were to run it right now, clicking a little play icon, or in my case on Mac, Command R, going to open up a window 800 by 800 pixel wide. And okay, so that's the basic of it, right? We can use a function called background to set the background color of that window, right? So let's say 33. So here you can do, let's say we want a reddish tone, right? So red, so RGB colors, right? Red, green, and blue. Let's say a little bit of green and a little bit more blue. All right. So that should be reddish sun, right? Okay, there you go. Awesome. So, and if you were to only pass one, let's say I wanted to do some kind of gray, right? And the range for all of those is between 0 and 255, right? So if I were to run this, this is kind of black, right? Because all of the colors are the same. So it's a gray color. And then the value is low, so it's not much of any of them, right? And if you want some gray where all the three values are the same, you can only pass one color, one per meter. That should do the same exact thing. This would be the gray value, right? So let's go with that. Now, we want another function. We want to use another function called draw. If I can write it, draw. Awesome. So the draw function is basically called every frame. Think of it as a game, right? A game you have FPS, right? So frame per second. And then the draw loop, the draw function is basically called on every frame, if you want to think about it as a game. And you can use any kind of processing, right? So if I wanted, so setup only, it's called once at the beginning, and then draw is called many times afterwards. So let's put the background in the draw loop. So over here, awesome. Let me do that, okay. All right, so it should be the same, right? Though currently, this is getting redrawn every frame, right? Every time. And let's say I wanted to draw a point or a circle where the mouse is, right? So we can do, there's another function called circle in processing, which takes x, y, and then the diameter, right? So x, y, let's do the mouse x, which is just the x position along the, the position along the x-axis, so along the width, where are we in? And the mouse y, the same thing, but for vertical axis. Okay, and then diameter of our circle, let's say 40 pixels. Okay, let's see if we can see the circle. Awesome, so we already have a circle, right? So what if I were to not draw the background, right? If I were to only do this, and well, let's draw it, but only once, right? Let's draw it back in setup now. So adding it back to setup, you see it, setup got called, the background got drawn, and then the circle is getting drawn every frame, right? So that's about what we want for the sketch. The only difference is that we only want to draw the circles when the mouse is pressed. So we said there is a variable called mouse pressed. So we can just do an if block and have if the mouse is pressed, then draw our circles, right? So we don't see a circle and then we can draw it, right? So that's pretty simple. What we could do now, we could add colors. We could remove the outline of those circles, right? So that there is no outline. Let's do that. So to remove outline, you can use the function called no stroke. So the stroke is the outline or the border of the shape that you're drawing. So you see now it's only white circles, no dark outline, right? Cool. We also wanted to reset the drawing every time we press the space key, right? So we can use the function like we said on the whiteboard, the key pressed function. Awesome. And then there is a specific variable called key code for knowing, like, this will contain the value of the key, like just a number which maps to one of the key that you pressed. So in our case, I know for a fact that it's 32, the spacebar key. If you don't know, you can search Java key code on Google and you should be able to find it, right? So what do we want to do? We said we wanted to reset the canvas, right? And to reset it, I mean, we can just redraw the background once, right? Okay, awesome. So let's try it. So I'm drawing, and then I press space. It got cleared. I mean, it got redrawn on top of it. Yeah, right? So it does work. Awesome. So now we can do something else, right? We could use the colors. Why not use like a specific color? Maybe this is a bit high. Sorry, there you go. Right, well, this is a bit small. Let's do 20, right? Half of what it was. Okay, I think that's fine. And we can play around with the size as well. So let's do that. The color is mapped based on the mouse X and mouse Y. Why not, right? So to use like a specific color for shape, you use the fill function, right? So fill is the same as background, so it receives at most, I believe, 4 arguments, but let's not care about the fourth right now. Let's do the first 3, right? R, G, and B. And it could also receive only 1, which would be the gray value if you were to do only 1 gray. So let's say I wanted white. I could just say, okay, it's 255, right? All of the R, G, and B are 255, so I can just pass 255. No need to pass R, G, and B. In my case, let's go back and do the kind of reddish value. So now let's see, right? So we get the reddish value that we expected. Awesome, cool. So now I don't, maybe I want to keep this, but I want to use these 2 values being like mouse X and mouse Y. This technically fine. The only thing is that it's an issue, right? Because mouse X and mouse Y are going from 0 up to 800 in this case, and 0 and 800 for the mouse Y as well. But fill is expecting values between 0 and 255. So what we can do is we could say, okay, let's say int, and we can say green is equal to, and then we need to map this value, which goes from 0 to the width, to 0 and 255, right? So we can use the map function from processing, passing it the specific value we want to map to a different value. We tell the range of that first value. So that value, we know it's going from 0, the start of the canvas, up to the width. So there is also the variable width that is available in processing, width and height, both of those. Which is just those specific values. Well, yeah, the specific amount of pixels in the width and the amount of pixel in the height, right, respectively. Okay, so that mouse X value is going between 0, the range is 0 and width, and we want to map it to 0 and 255. Awesome. And then let's convert, well, we don't need to, but okay. All right, so green, and then we just need blue, right? So blue, it's basically the same, but we'll use mouse Y instead for the value we want to map. It's not going from 0 to width, it's going from 0 to height. In this case, it wouldn't change much because we have the same width and height. But let's say you were to change one of the 2, it would cause issues, right? So let's do green and blue. Okay. Oh, yeah, and here we need map returns us a float, so we need to convert it to an int. Right, so let's do that for both of them. Awesome. No, I don't want this. Okay, there you go. Okay, so let's see. So technically, all close to the top left corner, it should be pretty red, right? Right. And as I move to the right, to the top right, it should go from like a red to, we said green is the mouse X, so red and green gives us, I'm not good with colors, we'll see. Yeah, some yellow. And then green, right? Awesome. And as we move down, it goes pinkish, purple, and then some close to white, right? Because all of them are really close to 255. Only the red is 220 fixed, right? So that's pretty much it for like the getting started with it, playing around with it. You could do pretty much anything else. Currently, none of those lines are connected, right? We could make those connected, right? So let's try connecting the lines. Sure. So what we can do, instead of drawing a circle, let's draw a line between 2 points, right? So it's 4 arguments. So it's between mouse X and mouse Y, that's the first point. And then the second point, let's do the previous mouse X and previous mouse Y. We could technically just record those values as we go through draw, but processing has already provided us with those, which is P mouse X and P mouse Y. Awesome. And the line doesn't have any fill, right? It's a stroke that we want to set. Here we can remove no stroke from here. And let's also set the stroke weight, so the thickness of that line, right? So stroke weight. This is another function from processing. So let's do a stroke weight of, I don't know, maybe 10 pixel wide. Let's see it. Okay, all right. So you see now it's connected. It doesn't separate itself. Right? If I move really fast, you can see that it's actual lines, but if I go like this, it's pretty much visible. That's cool. So that was the whole sketch. And if I press space, clears the canvas. So let's try doing like a person, right? So let's do a face. It's got I mean, I'm not the best at drawing, but you look scary. Okay, let's fill in. Let's try filling in here. All right. I mean, I won't be filling the full. Maybe. Well, I don't know. I'm almost there. Let me do it. There you go. Yeah, I mean, it could use some artistic help. Let's say. There you go, right? So he's smiling and giving his tongue out, right? So it's cool. We can have him wear glasses as well. There you go. Right? Cool. So that was the whole thing. Hope you liked it. Let me know if you have any question regarding code. The code will be available in the description of the video if you want to play around with it, change the colors, maybe change what you want to draw. If you look for information regarding what function is there, what shape can you draw, you can draw triangles, you can draw rectangles, squares, a whole bunch of stuff. Instead of circles, you could draw ellipse, right? So elongated circles or whatever you want. You can look to in the P5 references, the processing references, sorry. All right, so this is pretty much it, right? You can just, let me close this. Never. There we go. Okay, great. Sorry. Yeah, so if you want to look into here, this is just type processing references on Google. You should be able to get to this page, and you can search for like rectangle, rect. That's the name of the function, but look into it. You can see it receives 4 arguments. So first is the point, right? XY, and this point is the corner top left of that rectangle, and then the width and the height of that box. And if you scroll down, all of that information is written down here, right? So you can see it here. A, B, C, and D. What does that mean? X coordinate of the rectangle by default, and Y coordinate of the rectangle by default, width and height. And if you look at the top here, draws a rectangle to the screen. A rectangle is 4-sided shape with every angle 90 degrees by default. The first 2 parameters set the location of the upper left corner, you see? So everything is written in here. You see, you can even do like rectangles where the corners are rounded. Pretty cool as well. So hope you play with it. Try something else. And I hope you like the video. Thank you. See you in the next one.